Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Thursday the 9th of April. This video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation, advice or whatsoever intended. All the videos I shoot every day, I shoot several. I shoot FX, commodities and stocks are published first on my Substack channel, Kramer's Corner. Check that out and subscribe. Not everything will be published on YouTube, so make sure you sign up to my Substack because that's where everything will be published. All right, let's start with what happened in the FX market yesterday and what seems to be happening. So first of all, we had euro dollar. When I shot the video yesterday, it was trading around 117. It shot a little bit above the moving averages here, but it receded during the end of the session and closed below the resistance there at 116.70 and is currently trading below. So we also had the RSI being rejected here at the 60 threshold during the session yesterday. It was testing, and I think at one point it was actually above, but it did close below. So we are still in a negative sentiment. So key will be, will it slide back here the next few days? And if it slides back below the falling trend line there, well, then it can be caught back in this range here in this triangle-like pattern. So a false breakout, some will say. You can argue that, but at least, I mean, it did move quite a bit. It could have moved up to 117.40 where we had some resistance, but it didn't, and that's a little bit of sign of weakness. If it slides back and RSI moves back below its rising trend line there, then your dollar could fall back even further. Sterling dollar spiked up to strong resistance at 134.80 and then sat back and below the 786 retracement there and back below the 200 moving average that is pushing it down at the moment. We also have the 55 putting a lid on it there. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, so we could see it sliding back lower here in the coming days. And after this, what I can do, I can remove this one and then I can add a new Fibonacci. Say, all right, do we have some levels we can look at? Yes, we do. We have the 38.2 here at 133.58 and the 61 retracement at 132.80, which will be key because that's also the lower part of the or the lows from yesterday and of this candle there. So moving on to euro sterling, that also had a bit of volatility, dipped down to the 55 moving average yesterday, still in a bullish trend, but it needs to reconfirm it by a break above 87.45 here. And if it does, then I think we'll see a push up towards 88. Positive sentiment indicating we could see just that, but the medium term and longer term indicators are not really agreeing. I mean, we are above the cloud, but 55 is flat there. 200 moving as a little bit rising, but the 100 is declining. So a little bit of battle going on, can't go on for the foreseeable future. Yen pairs, also a lot of volatility yesterday when we talked about it. We had the dollar yen dipping below the 786 retracement, didn't get all the way down to the key support here at 157.50 before it bounced, so just dipped below, and now buyers has come in, lifted it. So let's see here what will going on. Will it be lifted further, and will RSI climb back above the falling trend line and especially above the 60 threshold? If it does that, well, then we could see dollar yen pushing higher, so that would be key. But if it takes out the lows from yesterday, expect a push down to maybe even 157 and these levels around 55 and 100 moving average coming up there. Euro yen is still in a bullish trend, a little bit setback yesterday after spying higher, but we are in a confirmed bullish trend after taking out this key resistance, and I think we could see it up towards 186 and a quarter, possibly higher, unless it slides back into here and then end down here, but I don't think so. I think we'll see it crawling higher. Aussie yen tested the rising trend line there yesterday. It really wants to get back above it, and I think it could happen. We got our side rejected at 60 threshold, but it's still in a positive sentiment. So if it can get back above the 60 threshold, then I think we will see it crawling higher. We had also it spiked above 112 above the 61.8 retracement. So if it takes out the peak from yesterday, well, then I think we could see a push up towards 114 even. So that'll be key to watch the next few days, or will it set back a little bit? But we have the 55 moving average coming up there also giving it some support, and we are above the cloud. The sterling yen spiked also to its rising trend line, got rejected just below the key strong resistance 213.30. That is the key resistance. I think it will test it within the next few days. Will it break it? That will be key towards, if it does, well, then we are looking towards 215. On the Aussie dollar, there we are, spiked high yesterday, didn't get all the way up to 786 retracement before it got hit a little bit by profit taking. However, we are in a bullish trend, we are above the cloud, just need to have it confirmed by the RSI closing back above 60 threshold. If it does, well, then there's potential much higher towards the previous peaks here around 72. But yes, we have established a bullish trend with a higher high here above this higher high and this lower high there. I don't count in this spike down because I can see on my tick chart it was merely just one print. The dollar Canada dipping below the support there at 138.38. Down to 50% and the 200 moving average there before buyers came back in. And we can see here that the RSI is forming a triangle-like pattern, and maybe I should change the color of that so we can easily see what's actually going on. There we go. So yes, we have forming this triangle-like pattern here. So if it bounces off and moves back above the 60 threshold and especially above the falling trend line, then expect a push higher towards 140. Possibly could take out the peak there. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, maybe we'll have another go and dip it down to the 61.8 retracement at 137.80. Euro-Swiss crawling higher, as we can see here, but still key resistance at 92.66, so I'll say 92.7. We have the 200 moving average kind of putting a lid on it there. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, but it is declining slightly, so maybe an uptrend exhaustion, and it could break the lower rising trend line. If it does, well, then there's risk to the downside, especially if it takes out 91.60. Dollar Swiss dip below the 786 retracement here yesterday and below the 100 moving average, but then has bounced, and it's not the most perfect one really, because it's only measured on those two, so I will remove it. But nevertheless, we have some key support to observe. First of all, here at the 78.50, 45.50, but the key strong one is down here at around 78.15, and where we also have the 55 moving average. I think we will see it sliding lower here and could test these two levels here in the next few days. However, if it breaks back above the rising trend line and it's basically taking out 80.40, that is the key strong resistance that should be observed. Then there's potential higher. Dollar index, well, it dipped to the 55 and 200 moving average yesterday, and then it bounced. Strong bounce indeed. Closed back above the support and has continued its bounce rate this morning. So key will be, will it close this gap here the next few days? If it does, well, then I think we will be back in a bullish trend and could push much higher towards 101.80. But for now, we are caught in this, I think, sideways range here around 99. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. But what I will do, I will draw a trend line right there. If it starts breaking above that, that could be a sign that it will also push higher here on the dollar index and really trying to close that gap. So let's see about that. However, if it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then we could see it below 98, 97.5. And since since the Forex market currency is also about interest rate and yields, then I will include it in here. So we had the US 10-year Treasury yield dipping just a little bit below the 38.2 retracement there at 425, and then it bounced. So we are establishing maybe a little bit of a bearish, very short-term bearish corrective trend here. But I think we could see it bouncing back and will continue higher. So if we do this, at this one, and it is almost where the 61.8 retracement is right there. If it takes out that to the other side at 438, 439, well, then expect a push up to 450 again and possibly higher. So that'll be key to watch. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then we are looking at 115, 17 down here, where we have strong support with the moving averages, the 100 and the 200 also, and the 55. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, indicating we could see that bullish push. On the EU yields, well, massive drop yesterday, but it closed above the 38.2 retracement and well above the key support there at 287. So and here this morning we can see it bouncing further a little bit. I think we'll see it bouncing further and could be caught range bound in this area here where it's been trading actually for the better part of the past 2-3 weeks. The UK hasn't opened just yet, but it traded much lower yesterday. Also think there was a bit of a future rollover, but nevertheless, I think we will see it opening higher, maybe around the 478, 480. The Japanese 10, well, still in a bullish trend, and I still believe we could see it higher towards 2.5 fairly soon. All right, that's all for today. On the FX side, we will have some commodities and stocks later. Keep charting and have a nice day.